in the MegaCast, and this one comes from Zerto and Recovery Point. Our expert presenters are Joseph Kim, Cloud Engineer with Recovery Point, and Andrew Silva, Technical Marketing Manager with Zerto. Andrew is kicking this off, so I'm going to hand the virtual mic to him. Andrew, take it away, sir.
Thanks for that introduction. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So ransomware has now become a board-level challenge. It's expected by 2031 that the total cost is going to exceed $265 billion, right? This is the fastest growing type of cybercrime that exists today, and it's impacting devices or consumers every 2 seconds. So it's important to realize, where does data protection fit in this whole realm of cybersecurity and ransomware recovery? So NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. You've probably heard about this framework or this group or this terminology before. So they have really developed a framework to help organizations better understand, manage, and reduce cybersecurity risks. So when we look at where Zerto specifically fits within these 5 pillars within NIST, it's really focusing in on helping customers with the recovery phase. That's what Zerto does extremely well. And so when we're talking specifically about why Zerto for ransomware resilience, it's the ability to resume operations at scale in minutes, being able to recover to a state prior to a ransomware attack, and the ability to recover your infrastructure with instantly and be able to do continuous and frequent non-disrupting testing. And all of this is delivered through our technology of continuous data protection. So let's dive into what this consists of in a little bit more detail. So the continuous data protection that I've been talking about, it's really made possible with Zerto's block level replication. And this is a near synchronous replication. So it really delivers the best of both synchronous and asynchronous replication approaches. Because we sit at the hypervisor level, this can be a fully software-only solution, totally independent of the underlying hardware and infrastructure, including the storage environment. So this is part of why Zerto works so well across hypervisors, clouds, and different platforms. You have the choice to do what's best for your organization, no matter where your data lives. So Zerto also addresses the challenge of recovering complex enterprise applications by protecting the workloads as a cohesive, logical entity. That way you can avoid inconsistent recovery of multi-VM applications where each VM is being restored to a different point in time. So really, this is more than just bundling groups of VMs together to help with management. However, that's part of it. But with Zerto, whenever we're looking at this, we're creating recovery points where all the VMs in these groups are going to share the same validated checkpoint with write order fidelity across all of them, regardless of which hosts or data stores are being used. So that's a very powerful capability within Zerto. And when we're talking about the recovery and simplified recovery, it's powered by our built-in orchestration engine. It's not a separate product that's bolted on top. With Zerto, you can simply select the applications or servers that you want to recover, select the exact point in time you need to restore to down to the second, and then start the failover, the test, or the restore process. And this can be done when there's a disruption or an outage. And it's really this blazing fast recovery is exactly how you can dramatically limit downtime and get your organizations back up running quickly. So to do this, simply fail. If we're going to fail over, you simply go to fail over. You're able to select your virtual protection groups. You're able to determine which checkpoint you want to recover to. And from there, you begin the failover test. So part of what makes CDP with Zerto so powerful is our unique journaling capabilities. So not just being able to capture a write or an IO, that's not necessarily just CDP. It has to be paired with a dynamic, battle-tested, hyper-efficient journal. So the Zerto journal tracks every single change made in your application or on your server, and it logs it as checkpoints every 5 to 10 seconds. And this happens whether you have just hundreds, thousands of VMs, it doesn't really matter. Um, the innovative journal that we have can store these changed blocks or these changes for as little as 1 hour up to 30 days, and it offers unmatched granularity when it comes to recovery. So whenever needed, you can simply rewind back to an old checkpoint and easily recover to that exact point in time. So in this example, if ransomware hits at 10 a.m., it's extremely easy to roll back to 9:59 and 55 seconds and mitigate that infection. That's really the power of the Zerto journal. So let's take a brief look at the Zerto architecture and the components that are involved here. First, we have our Zerto Virtual Manager, which is our control plane, right? There's one per vCenter. That's going to be where you do all of your administration. That's going to be where it looks at all of your virtual machine inventory, and that's going to be the primary component that you interface with. We then have our VRAs. Our VRAs, you can think of those as our data mover and CDP engine. That's where all the CDP capabilities take place. From there, we have our journal, and that's a log of all of the changed blocks with all of our different recovery points that we can choose back to. And then we have our replicas. So our replicas, it's a complete copy of the VM and the oldest restore point. And those types of replicas, you can actually store those replicas as an immutable offsite copy as well. So those are the basic components that make up Zerto. Thank you for your time. And I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Joe with recovery point systems.
Okay, thank you for that introduction, Andrew. My name is Joseph Kim. I'm at RPS, Recovery Point Systems. I'm a cloud engineer here on the cloud team. And who is Recovery Point Systems? We are a cyber resiliency disaster recovery service provider. Our mission is to relentlessly deliver exceptional recovery services. We strive to ensure our clients are protected and able to recover from any disaster. We like taking on the challenges of planning and conducting disaster recovery and turn it into opportunities for growth to ensure that your business not just survives, but it will thrive in the face of adversity. We own and operate our own Tier 3 Uptime Institute certified data centers, and our platform support is wide and deep. We support DR for IBM mainframe, IBM Power I, AIX, x86 virtual and physical and hybrid cloud solutions. In addition to that, to assisting with disaster recovery and cyber resiliency, we also have co-location data center services where we offer fully managed recovery for multi-platform, as I stated before, in applications. Our approach to cyber resiliency: prepare, recover, remediate. It seems simple and straightforward, yet there's still so many customers that woefully are unprepared, untested DR plans with no cybersecurity budgeting, no air gap backups, and they don't have any proactive steps to prepare when there is a disaster event arises. Imagine never testing if you could recover from your backups until you're in the middle of a ransomware attack. It puts your IT staff in a less than desirable position to be in. And some backup admins might even throw in the towel saying that I've been telling you we needed to test for the last 12 months. You haven't documented, practiced, validated your disaster recovery plan. You're planning to fail. This needs to be a regular exercise by your security team, and you need to be resilient to the potential unavailability of both technology and personnel. So this needs to have board level visibility so that your organization can confidently answer the question, are we prepared for a ransomware attack? So how does RPS approach this? Preparation. Recovery is the front and center of everything we do here at RPS. With RPS as your managed service provider for Zerto, we will work with your SA and SE teams to ensure that your VPGs are aligned with your recovery plan and Zerto best practices. Our DR specialists will walk you through building your organization's recovery playbook. Incidents response. Our teams hosting facilities, cloud, networking, AIX, to name a few, are available 24/7, 365 days a year. If there is a declaration of any kind, just know that all of our teams will have an all hands on deck policy to support your recovery activity. Inventory management. A successful recovery plan is a current recovery plan. We meet monthly or bi-monthly with our managed resiliency customers to ensure that all your vital systems are accounted for and recovery ready at all times. Recovery playbook. What is that? So there's so much to this to cover in this slide, but in a nutshell, RPS Resiliency Console is the powerhouse for your organization's disaster recovery test plan. This is where we work together with your teams to create system dependency mappings related to other systems and business critical applications. We tier your systems and applications. We automate the recovery process, and we run the DR test over and over and over, and we report these results on scorecard reports. We also have advanced RPO monitoring, which reviews the Zerto RPO targets. So based off of your journal, like Andrew said, the journal SLAs, we if there is any threshold being breached, it'll generate an internal case for RPS staff to review and to address. All right, so attack happened, recovery. We have hot site failover test environments. We have automation, managed orchestration of your recovery. We have clean room, isolated recovery environments, backup scanning and validation. And with your bring your own third-party tools, your forensics tools, we can put that into action to pinpoint when the attack occurred and where we need to recover from. So this is all together. This is your recovery playbook put into action. At this point, with regular testing, it'll be muscle memory for you and hopefully no sweat. Lastly, remediation. So the disaster has happened. We have restored all of your systems in your clean room. It is time to fail back to your environment. Well, with the help of Zerto solution, this is baked in and it fully supports failback as well as reverse protection to get you back into your production environments. Readiness, ransomware recovery as a service, or RRS, by Recovery Point is a comprehensive solution engineered to address the complexities of ransomware recovery. Want to just touch on a couple of these. The first one I want to touch on is the ransomware readiness gap assessment. So this is a quick brief assessment by RPS. We review your visibility into technical systems and devices that are connected. We also want to understand your on-prem environment. Do you have an on-prem, a hybrid, a cloud, a SaaS architecture? What are the operational controls? Do you have a zero trust architecture? Have you done everything you can do to reduce the impact of phishing attacks or your attack sectors? Organizational reputation. You know, if you were attacked, we want to assess the extent in which an attack could damage your company's brand, reputation, or intellectual property. A good security hygiene, regular system patching, proper system configuration, and immutable offsite backup copies. All right. The other one I want to point out is hot site failover with clean room capabilities. Our clean rooms exist in a tier 3 data center. A tier 3 data center, for those that are not familiar, we ensure 99.982% uptime. That translates into 1.6 hours of downtime annually. Recovery testing can be expensive and complex, but with the clean room equipment, you don't have to invest in dedicated infrastructure. RPS will deploy the infrastructure from our pool of resources that'll be ready for you at time of testing or in a live failover environment scenario. automated orchestrated recovery. Instead of testing once every 12 months, clients can leverage the fully managed recovery service, and we will run your DR test plan every quarter to validate your test is still valid and is ready for a disaster. The delta between the DR plan and true reality of knowing you can recover can easily be reduced. Backup scanning and validation. It is vital to know that your systems. It is vital to know what systems were infected and what is the closest point I can recover to. How much data loss is acceptable to minimize impact on your bottom line? Must scan. It's dangerous to recover the wrong stuff. And if you don't check it, it can reinfect your whole system. So we ideally would want to scan before we recover. And we can utilize that with Zerto's failover test, and we can roll back to each checkpoint. And that with your BYO third-party solutions forensics tool, we could pinpoint when the attack came in and what the restore point we can go to that is safe. DRAS with Zerto. RPS will assist your team with installing ZVM and VRA appliances at your production site. We will set you up with a ZCC Zerto Cloud connector that'll act as a NATing appliance for your site-to-site connection. We leverage at RPS VMware vCloud Director for isolation of multi-tenant resources and deliver a tenant portal for your technical team to log in and access your recovery systems in a secured clean room environment. Resiliency Console. A continuation from a few slides ago, the Resiliency Console is a recovery point solution that brings your full DR playbook, environment, interdependencies of your tiered systems into one single pane of glass for real-time recovery and actual RTO and RPO, a living timeline and recovery performance metrics for your management teams to follow along as we are recovering your systems. Support ticketing is baked in. This is especially useful for fine-tuning your playbook during our DR test events. %80 of our client declarations last year were due to ransomware attacks. This threat is a reality. Like Andrew said, this threat is a reality for many, and there is no clear silver bullet. But with RPS and Zerto, your organization will be recovery ready to ensure minimal data loss. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen. What a great presentation. Loved it and cannot wait to see what we have coming up in the Q&A. In the meantime, I've thrown up the next poll question. Please let us know what additional information you would like to see about the recovery point and Zerto solutions. Let us know while we go over the Q&A. This feedback is really important to us. I also want to remind everyone about the handouts. We've got a PDF from Zerto all about DR as a service, which we've been discussing. So check that out for more detail. All of those handouts are free for you to download. So make sure to head over there and check those out now while we go through some Q&A here. So Andrew and Joseph, welcome here today. Can't wait to get going. How are you both doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, great. Absolutely. Let's dive in then with some awesome Q&A. Warren wants to know first, and I'll let you guys fight it out to see who takes this. Warren wants to know, what makes it so hard to control ransomware? I think that's a question a lot of us have.
Yeah, Andrew, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I'll take the first stab. I think kind of to the point in some of the beginning of the slide is it's a profitable business for bad actors, right? So I think whenever you have such a profitable business and there's a huge addressable market that bad actors can go after, it's just going to make it more rampant, right? It's an easy way for bad actors to make money. I say easy, right? But when you look at it from the scale perspective, it happens on a daily basis. So I think that's one of the main reasons. And then also the advancement of tools, right? I mean, we see the benefits of AI and generative AI, and how that can increase productivity through software development cycles, through content creation. But on the flip side, for creating malicious code, right? I think that just reduces work effort. So I think those are some of the those are just a couple of reasons that I see on the ransomware issue, and why it's so hard to control is just because on the profitability, and then the advancement of tooling they can use to create and deploy malicious software more efficiently.
Yeah,
Got
and I'd say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to add to Andrew's answer. So the ransomware is really leveraging that encryption technology, and it's kind of something that we leverage in the security aspect as well. It's really preventing users or certain people from accessing the data. It's just really bad when it's your data that's being kept from you. So yeah, that's just some observations that I've seen that make it so hard to control.
Absolutely. Next question then. It comes from Jeff, who wants to know, how can you best be prepared for such an attack? Another question with really broad interest here, I think.
Joe, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I could take that one. So with Recovery Point, what we feel is the best way to be prepared for such an attack is to be prepared. Having a game plan, a recovery playbook in place that you've actually executed over and over again and have fine-tuned according to your organization's current needs. And the reason why I say current is because, as you know, as IT specialists and engineers and IT people, you guys have, that the landscape is ever changing, and applications get upgraded, your infrastructure changes, as well as your critical applications and systems that you guys leverage as a business. So the best way to be prepared is to be current. So having a current playbook and having a DR test plan, and not waiting for after the fact that an attack has occurred to create one is, I believe, the best way to be prepared. And we can discuss that later.
Yeah, no, so important. Absolutely. Related to that, we have a question specifically for you here, Joseph. How many locations does Recovery Point have for data centers?
Sure. So we have, so our main data center is located in Germantown, Maryland. We have a tier 3 facility that constitutes 99 it constitutes for 1.6 hours of downtime a year. We have a 2N facility. We have fully redundant power supplies and cooling. So that facility in Germantown is definitely the biggest data center that we have. But we also have a data center location. We have a colo in Chicago, and we also have one in Gaithersburg. Yeah. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. I may have to come down to that facility in Germantown. It's only about 25 miles from where I live, so that's kind of cool. You have to invite me out there one day to take a tour. What do you think, Joseph?
Would love to have you. Yeah.
Okay, now I've got a specific question for Andrew, and he wants the attendee wants to know: can Zerto help inform me where the ransomware started and who it came from? Are you there, Andrew? And can you take that one? I'm not sure if we have lost Andrew or not. So right now, Andrew, if you were there. Andrew, are you there now? Okay, it looks like Andrew right now is having a little trouble with his mic. Oh, you want to go ahead and, yeah, please go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, so Zerto does have some malware anomaly monitoring with the replication traffic, and really that replication traffic is monitored via the VRAs, which are basically your I/O appliances that receive and transmit the data, your replication data. So there is that method. As far as detecting, pinpointing when an attack has occurred. Really, that's what I had mentioned in my presentation, that BYO, bring your own third party tool. So like Sentinel-1, Nessus Scanner, things like that should be able to detect when an attack has occurred. Yeah, it looks like Andrew is rejoined.
It does sound
Yeah,
like
can you hear me now? It's
Yeah, we can hear you.
my mic's working now. Okay, yeah, we just had a little
definitely
bit of
sounds better. Yeah. So I've got one final question that we can fit in here, and this one, and then is for you, Andrew. Chris wants to know: we use Zerto today for DR, disaster recovery, between data centers. Is it easy to migrate from on-premises to DRAS Zerto? Great question.
Yeah, so the DRAS Zerto, it's going to be all the same Zerto components that you love today, right? So you have the ability to pair with additional sites. So if you want to leverage Zerto on-premise to a DR as a service provider, it's all going to be the same underlying hardware or the software that you use with Zerto today. So as far as migrating go, it's going to be the same process you would use for if you owned your own data centers rather than a DR as a service model.
Okay, excellent. You make it very easy. All right, and I have to do a quick check. Can you gentlemen hear me right now? I'm seeing that I might be having connection problems.
I can hear you. Yep, absolutely.
You can hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Well, that's good. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for being on with us today. It's been a delight to have you and to learn more about what Recovery Point and Zerto are doing, such innovative companies. And it was great to get some